Hey guys, it's Nicole, and I am still trying to play catch up on some videos. This one is from the April Flavors of the Month kit. I am working with the Echo Park New Day kit. So I've got images of the full kit, the pattern paper add-on, and the embellishment add-on. I do believe I dipped into both for this specific layout, and I'll kind of get into it if I can remember to as we go along. I will say that at the end of the layout, I didn't love it, but you guys know my philosophy. I'm not going to love them all. I tend to just kind of force myself to work through that kind of creative block or just not really feeling every single layout. It's basically an opportunity for me to kind of check those photos or that event off of my to-do list. And if I feel like by the time I go to put that layout into an album, if I still feel that way, I kind of give myself some grace. And if I feel like I want to redo it, I've done it before. Not every single layout you're gonna love, but it doesn't bother me. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to word that right. But when I was going through the kit, I was really liking a lot of the rainbow icons that I was seeing. And I had these photos from my daughter playing in the backyard from years ago. And she's wearing that purple sweatshirt. It was one of my favorite sweatshirts that she had at that age. And you don't see purple show up in a lot of collections. So when I was looking through this, I was kind of surprised that Echo Park had included a little bit of purple in this line. It's not quite the same like bright purple as her sweatshirt, but there were elements in this line. So typically I like to stay with the main collection. However, I was really liking this green plaid. You guys know I love a B-side. I love a good, what I would call like a quiet B-side, where even the pattern on the B-side is tame, muted. I don't know what the right word would be. Sometimes like people have B-sides and I still kind of read it as an A-side because it is so busy. But so anyways, I kind of just kept bouncing around between the different papers. I think it was mostly I wasn't loving them. I think I liked some of them. Some of them I felt like, how do I explain this? I've noticed in the last like year or two, some of these companies will come out with these collections and it's almost like mini collections within a collection where you can take a handful of the papers and they don't feel like they necessarily go together. But again, that could just be me and my preferences. So I ended up just kind of bouncing around between the 5 pattern papers that were from the main kit and the add-on. I also pulled in a sheet of white cardstock from my stash. Actually, I think it was left over from one of the other kits. And I just started layering the pattern papers. For me, pattern paper is like my favorite product. So that is typically what I find myself focusing more on a lot of the times. Sometimes there will be a specific embellishment that kind of stands out and I want to use it, or maybe it's a jumping off point. So I kind of just start working through decisions. I've talked about this in the past. Sometimes I have different starting off points. Sometimes I know exactly what I'm going to do. Sometimes I follow a sketch, a scrap lift. Sometimes I come up with my own sketch. But a lot of times I kind of know what the main game plan for the page is. And sometimes I just kind of do this where I have like a basic idea. I had drawn myself a rough sketch. I created these, I say I created these photo strips. They're actually a photo collage that I just didn't put 2 photos in, and then I cut it in half so that instead of it being like I think it was like a 4x10, cut it in half, ends up being what to me reads more as like a film strip. And then I couldn't find a pattern paper that I really wanted to fill in those blocks. So I took a lot of the different papers and cut strips from the different areas that I really liked. So I knew I wanted to incorporate some of that plaid because the plaid had the purple elements in it. I wanted to use the rainbows, so I cut a strip of that. I even cut like a tiny strip of the darker blue because knowing that I'm going to be using the embellishments, those embellishments are going to have colors that are pulled from the entire line. So even though I'm being picky and I'm being choosy over the pattern papers that I'm selecting, by the time I get to the embellishments, I kind of want everything to still look like it goes together. And I do this a lot. I can't think of her name, but there's a girl that she commented on a video like a year or two ago that I make her scream whenever I drop like adhesive on my pictures. Trust me, I do it too. I delete the audio off of these. There's a lot of like cussing and stuff going on when I do it. In that instance, I had dropped the adhesive kind of in an open area of the photo, so I was like, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll put a piece of chipboard or something there. So again, I'm just going down the line of trying to make decisions. So at this point, I've got this general idea of I want these 2 strips of photos on either side of the layout. What am I going to do in the middle? There wasn't really anything in the kit that I felt like I wanted to use for titles, but a trick that I use is I will go through and read the phrases that are printed on the stickers, and in this case, I think I got my title from one of the die cut pieces, or it was actually one of these stickers. So the sticker itself would have been really small, and you would have kind of struggled to read it. So I decided that I was going to take alphabet dies and some of the pattern papers and then fill in with some alphabet stickers and use the phrase that was on the sticker sheet and basically make it myself in a larger form. And I am making what I dubbed dickers, where I do, I think in this case I did 3 layers of just white cardstock, and then the top layer is the pattern paper. And so for the word rainbow, I did the rainbow colored plaid paper. And then for the word cloud, I did the cloud pattern paper. Now, again, if I was a regular subscriber and I was kind of mixing these kits into my stash, I think I probably would have just gone to my scrap bin and pulled out some like really, really tone-on-tone B-sides and just kind of matched some of the colors. Or gone and looked for like a 6x6 pad that had scaled down patterns. Those tend to work better, at least in my preference, for die cutting alphabet dies with. But again, I wanted to try something different. I just kind of wanted to play around. I think in person, these read much more clearer than in like a photo. And thankfully, I sent a photo of my finished layout to a friend, and she pointed out the fact that one of my letters was upside down, and I was like, thank you. That's exactly why we're friends, and that's exactly why like I sent this to be like, hey, I'm struggling, help me out here. And the funny thing is, I had actually kept the negative when I cut this out because I knew I was going to have a hard time lining up this plaid pattern after I cut it into pieces. That A in rainbow is clearly upside down. I don't know if it's in the video of me ripping it off and flipping it. I ripped it off and flipped it over. There's a little tear in the paper. It's fine. And then, of course, I don't have the layout in front of me, so I'm not 100% sure until I put these alphabet letters on what the title actually reads. But again, I got it from one of the stickers, and I do this a lot. If I can't come up with a title and nothing's sort of jumping out at me, I will always go to the sticker sheet or the die cuts or even like the sheet of pattern paper that has cut aparts. Those all tend to have those like longer phrases on them. And in this instance, I knew I wanted to have a longer sort of phrase type title to fill in that center area and have the title kind of function as like a big embellishment cluster itself. And that's just a preference that I have sometimes. And then I pretty much just used the rainbows that were from the chipboard, which was from the add-on, and then there was these little circles with the hearts in them that was also from the chipboard sheet. So I kept the embellishments pretty simple just because my title is pretty long. It's pretty long-winded, but I felt like it really went with my photos and kind of what was going on in them. And then because the title, like I said, is kind of creating this big embellishment area, I just sort of picked like the top left of the photo strip to do one, and then like the bottom right of the photo strip to do one. And I just kind of went through and tried to find things that didn't have like a lot more like wordy type phrases, because I've got journaling, I've got a title. Like, I am somebody that loves text and I love phrase stickers and stuff like that, but sometimes it can get a little too much. I kind of wish that Echo Park and their sister company, Cartabella, I kind of wish that they would back off a little bit on how many phrases they put on everything. And like the one right there on my desk with the really pretty rainbow border, I kind of wish that that was blank. I kind of wish that if it came blank, I could have printed my own journaling on it, or I could have cut it up into little pieces to tuck here and there and not have that phrase be on there. I kind of wish that they would just mix it a little bit more, where you've got these good, like, eye-catching big phrases and labels, and then you've got some, like, quiet, plain, some would call boring, I would call useful, like, just framed little pieces. But I don't know that that would ever happen. If I ever get to a point in life where somebody's like, hey, what would you put in a scrapbook collection? Like, let me tell you, boring and basic is where we're going to go. Okay, here's my layout at the end. Again, I did dip into the add-ons. This one was towards the end of the month where I really just kind of wanted to play with the kit and see where it took me. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys here, and I'll be back with another video in a couple days. Bye!